Well, no more ice. It's looking pretty good. So, I posted something on a social media platform. There was a question asked, have you ever helped a woman? And I was like, wow, well, here's a story. Back in the day, my son comes home and it's pretty late. And he said, Dad, we got a problem. I said, dude, what's the problem? He said, well, come check the back of my Jeep. I go and look in the back of his Jeep, and he's got this girl half passed out sitting in the back seat of his Jeep. I'm like, dude, what's going on? He goes, Dad, I found her in a ditch. Like, what do you mean you found her in a ditch? He goes, yeah, she was kind of freaked out. Some guys were chasing her, and she gone out drinking with them, and they're getting handsy. And anyways, I got her took me a bit and got her in the back of my Jeep because she wasn't exactly, put together, and didn't know what to do. So I had to go home. So we called the police, and the police had just taken her home. So we took her home, dropped her off at roommates and whatever. Well, when I posted it, I didn't really give 100% of the details. I just said we took her home. Well, it's amazing how many, literally thousands of people resonated with this message and this, there's women saying, you raised your son right, and guys saying, true gentleman, and, all that kind of stuff. But then there's this other group of people, and they are like, what, were you stupid? Look at all the things she could have done. She could have accused you of rape. She could have accused you of all these other things. And it's like, well, listen, I called the cops. They still did take her home. They were pretty aware. But anyways, some people were really adamant that I was stupid for helping this girl. And my son should have known better. Like, known better. And I got to thinking about it. And how many people these days, they don't care. I don't care what kind of trouble you're in. There's some people that are saying, girls think that they can take care of themselves, so if they think they can take care of themselves, let them deal with their own problems. I'm like, how can you talk like that? That's the damage that our society has done. See, that's what the world says. If you have daughters, you're like very grateful that there's a young man that's going to be protective of them. But if you're angry, if you're bitter, if you've got stuff that you haven't dealt with and issues, and there's a lot of anger there, you're just going to be looking out for your, number one, self-preservation. See, a lot of people, they look at the risk of following Jesus. They look at the risk of being obedient. They look at the risk of self-sacrifice. They look at the risk of being altruistic. They look at the risk of giving of themselves to help somebody else, and think, I could lose. And you know what? They're right. You could. There's no doubt that every time you put yourself out, somebody can hurt you. Every time you show love, somebody can reject you. Every time that you show concern and help, somebody can be abusive to you and hurtful to you. Somebody can take advantage of the situation. And you know what? In many areas of my life and times in my life, people have done that. But you know what I've chosen? I had to choose it. I've chosen to say, you know what, I'm going to trust anyway. I'm going to take those risks. Why? Because that is who I want to be. I want to be the one that at the end of the day, God says, somebody asked me the other day, wouldn't you rather just protect yourself than risk and getting hurt? And it's like, no, I wouldn't. I would rather. Why? Because the return is so much greater. Not just from other people, but when you look in the mirror and you say, that is who God made me. I've been part of God's work. I've been part of doing what Jesus would have done here on earth. When Jesus said greater things you'll do, a lot of it has to do with how you're going to impact the world, not just in the miraculous, but in the everyday. I'm going to do whatever it takes to show people the love of Christ. Jesus said, you can do amazing things, but you have to be willing to risk. Some people, they step out in the water and they're like Peter. They step out and they say, I'm willing to take that risk. And then they see the waves and then they see the trouble. And it's like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And they start to sink. And it's easy to get your eyes off Jesus out there in the storms, walking out there, taking the risk and saying, but I could get hurt. And Jesus says, walk with me. Just walk with me. It's kind of because they just started walking out there in the water. I'm not going to step out in this because I'll just get wet. But in the spiritual sense, let's step out. Let's take the risk. This could really hurt. This could really go wrong, but think of all the ways it could go right. And let's follow that path. God bless you. Hope it's been an encouragement to you. Bye for now.